Over the past week, my videos have been rankings of players by position, and in today's video we move on to the power forwards, which is actually one of the more stronger positions filled with a ton of talent from top to bottom, in my opinion. As always, the guidelines for this ranking are that I am only using the player that starts at the position from each team. It isn't relevant if the player isn't a natural power forward, because a few players on this list are not natural power forwards. The only thing that matters is that that is the spot that they will be starting in their team's lineups. Before we get started though, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new, as all support is very much appreciated. Now with that being said, let's begin. Starting at the bottom and working our way to the top, starting at number 30, we have Anthony Tolliver of the Portland Trail Blazers. Tolliver, for most of his career, has been a three-point specialist off the bench, which is a role that he's done well in. After the Blazers traded away several key contributors at the forward spots this offseason, Tolliver will now be getting a much bigger role than he's previously had, and we'll see how he handles it. At number 29, we have Marvin Williams of the Charlotte Hornets. Williams is starting to hit the point where he's over the hill as a player, yet unfortunately he's still getting paid $15 million this year by Charlotte, which contributes to their cap space issue and lack of real direction. At number 28, we have Kelly Olynyk of the Miami Heat. Olynyk's biggest appeal is his shooting ability, yet last season his three-point percentage hovered around league average. He's not a great rebounder, struggles on defense, and because of this he finds himself near the bottom of the list. At number 27, we have Davis Bertans of the Washington Wizards. Bertans had a bit of a coming out party last season as a three-point shooter, making 43% of his threes and showing off deep range. He was used mostly as a specialist to this point, with most of his shot attempts being threes, but now in Washington he will need to expand his game in a bigger role. At number 26, we have Dario Saric of the Phoenix Suns. Saric was showing signs early on in his career of becoming a nice all-around forward, but when he was traded last year, he never really looked comfortable and his production took a dip. He was never really utilized to the best of his abilities in Minnesota, but now that he's in Phoenix, he should be able to play his game to the fullest on a team without the pressure of high expectations. At number 25, we have Taurean Prince of the Brooklyn Nets. Prince is a smooth offensive player that can create his own shot decently and take advantage of mismatches. The Nets traded for him this summer as a sign that they're ready to compete, and he'll fit well into their system. At number 24, we have Jonathan Isaac of the Orlando Magic. As a second-year player last season, Isaac showed a ton of signs that he can be a top defender in this league. He's long and active while being quick on his feet and is a terrific shot blocker from the forward spot. His offensive game is still coming along, but his defensive impact has the potential to be great. At number 23, we have Gordon Hayward of the Boston Celtics. With both Marcus Morris and Al Horford leaving the team this summer, the Celtics will likely go small with their lineup, leaving either Hayward, Tatum, or Brown starting at the 4. I already put Tatum and Brown on my shooting guard and small forward lists, so Hayward is the one appearing in this video. Overall, Hayward's injury hampered the way he played significantly, but he'll be looking to get back on track as he continues to get healthier this year. At number 22, we have Jaren Jackson Jr. of the Memphis Grizzlies. After just one season, Jaren was very impressive in his time on the court, scoring the ball well both inside and out, and on defense, he's done very well for someone so young. Him and Ja Morant will be a terrific young duo to build around moving forward, and Memphis fans should be excited. At number 21, we have PJ Tucker of the Houston Rockets. Tucker isn't a guy that fills stat sheets, but his immense value to the Rockets comes from the little things. He plays as hard as he can at all times, plays great defense, sets good screens, and spaces the floor well as a confident three-point shooter. At number 20, we have Harrison Barnes of the Sacramento Kings. Barnes and Marvin Bagley will be fighting for this spot, but the Kings just paid Barnes a large sum of money, so they likely believe he will be the starter and Bagley will be coming off the bench to gain more experience as a young player. At number 19, we have Zion Williamson of the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, Zion obviously hasn't done anything in the league yet, but my belief is that he's going to be a very good player right away. Expecting him to be a star immediately is too unrealistic, but he has the hype around him for a reason, and is going to make some noise this year in a big way. At number 18, we have Domantas Sabonis of the Indiana Pacers. Sabonis mostly played backup center last season, but this year with Doug McDermott and TJ Leaf being the only other alternatives, the team will likely go big and start him at power forward. Sabonis dominates the post, is a very good rebounder, and even has a serviceable jump shot. He's becoming a very good player and will be relied heavily upon until Victor Oladipo returns from injury. At number 17, we have Joe Ingles of the Utah Jazz. Now, obviously, Ingles is a wing player, I know that, but the way the Jazz are constructed, they will probably start 4 shooters on the floor around Rudy Gobert in a small ball lineup, moving Ingles to this spot. He's a fantastic shooter and secondary playmaker, as well as a big game player. At number 16, we have Paul Millsap of the Denver Nuggets. Millsap is very much on the downside of his career, with his production decreasing a ton over the past few seasons, but he can still give this Nuggets team good minutes on both ends of the floor, especially on defense, where they will need him while playing alongside Nikola Jokic, who tends to struggle on that end. At number 15, we have Danilo Gallinari of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Gallo had one of the quietest great seasons last year and arguably had the best season of his career. He averaged about 20 points per game while scoring the ball incredibly efficiently, shooting 46% from the floor and 43% from 3. He's a highly skilled forward that will be featured heavily in this new-look OKC squad. At number 14, we have Lauri Markkanen of the Chicago Bulls. Markkanen wasn't healthy for most of last year, but by the end of the season he started to get his groove back and showed how lethal he can become. He's a 7-footer with unusually good handles for someone at that height, allowing him to create his own shot against other slower bigs with ease. He could be in for a monster year this year, but for now, he's near the middle of the pack with a ton of promise. At number 13, we have John Collins of the Atlanta Hawks. I don't think there's ever been a more slept-on 20-10 season than the one Collins had last year, but he's a terrific young big man that puts up great numbers and dominates the paint with his athleticism. He and Trae Young will be a phenomenal duo for years because their connection in the pick and roll is already tough to stop. At number 12, we have Robert Covington of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Covington was injured for about half of last season, but when he's on the court, he had some of the biggest impact on the defensive end in the league over the past few seasons. He's always a leader in deflections and steals, and creates a ton of turnovers, leading to easy baskets for his team. At number 11, we have Kevin Love of the Cleveland Cavaliers. A lot of players on this list were injured last season, and Love was another one, as he missed almost the entire season. When he did play, he never really found a rhythm on offense, but was still one of the top rebounders in the league, as he always is. Assuming he's healthy again this season, I still believe he can produce like a top power forward in the league, and a contender may look to trade for him at some point near the deadline. Now, starting off the top 10 of this list, we have Julius Randle of the New York Knicks. Randle was amazing last season on the Pelicans, putting up 21 points and 9 rebounds per game, while also showing off a much improved jump shot. He's going to be the go-to guy in New York, which could see another spike in his production, but it ultimately won't mean much because the Knicks just aren't a very talented team. At number 9, we have Kristaps Porzingis of the Dallas Mavericks. Porzingis is another addition to the comically long list of injured players from last season, but they call him the Unicorn because of his absurd ability to create a shot for himself while also being 7'3". The sky is the limit for him with potential, but we'll see how the injury will affect how he plays moving forward. At number 8, we have Pascal Siakam of the Toronto Raptors. This season was a massive breakout year for Siakam as he took home the league's Most Improved Player award and looks well underway to becoming an all-star caliber player, especially with Kawhi Leonard gone, which will give him an even bigger role on the team. At number 7, we have LaMarcus Aldridge of the San Antonio Spurs. Aldridge is one of the best back-to-the-basket scorers in the post while also excelling in the mid-range. He's a nice, sound, all-around player and does a very good job within the Spurs system. At number 6, we have Al Horford of the Philadelphia 76ers. Horford is the kind of selfless player that every team would love to have because he makes so many impactful plays that elevate those around him. He's a good shooter for a big man, a terrific passer for a big man, and most importantly, he's a phenomenal defensive player. He used to be the biggest matchup nightmare for Joel Embiid, but now they're teammates, which is a scary sight for the rest of the league to have to face. Now, entering the top 5, we have Draymond Green of the Golden State Warriors. In a similar way to how I just described Horford, Green is also someone that makes a massive impact on the defensive end of the floor. Plus, offensively, he's oftentimes been the main initiator and passer, and is incredibly multifaceted. At number 4, we have Blake Griffin of the Detroit Pistons. As Griffin has aged, his game has gotten much more skillful, as he has veered away from the highlight dunks and focused more on improving his jump shot, post moves, and playmaking ability. Unfortunately, he hasn't had much to work with in Detroit because he is a big-time player. At number 3, we have Paul George of the Los Angeles Clippers. Yes, before you all comment, I realize George is naturally a wing, but the Clippers will likely start Beverly and Shamet at the guard spots, and I put Kawhi on the small forward list, so George slides into the power forward spot in the starting lineup. He was in the MVP race last season because he's a high-level player on both ends of the floor, and him and Kawhi make up a pairing featuring two of the best two-way players in the whole league. At number 2, we have Anthony Davis of the Los Angeles Lakers. Last season was not a good one for Davis, as he essentially quit on his team halfway through the year after not being able to lead them to a playoff spot. Now in Los Angeles, there will be massive expectations for him and all eyes will be on him, and alongside LeBron James, he's going to have a lot to prove. Now, finally, at number 1 on this list, we have Giannis Antetokounmpo of the Milwaukee Bucks. He won last season's MVP award, put up monster numbers all year long, and led his team to 60 wins. He's just getting started and will probably dominate for a long time. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more NBA content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time with my final installment of this series where I rank the centers.